Well, Donald Trump has done what many feared. He has announced sweeping tariffs on imports into the United States, sparking fears of economic turmoil. On April 2, a day he called Liberation Day, Trump declared a national emergency and imposed a universal 10% tariff on all the imports coming into US. For 60 countries that he accused of cheating America, even higher levies were introduced, calling this a declaration of economic independence. Quote unquote, Trump believes his move will reduce dependence on foreign goods and make, I have to quote here, make America wealthy again. After being great, you want to become wealthy. However, many economists and world leaders warn that this could have disastrous consequences, pushing the US and potentially the world, the whole world, towards recession. So let's start by understanding its implication for US and then we'll dive into the global implications. Trump's tariffs target over 3.3 trillion worth of imported goods annually, meaning US businesses and customers, yes, you will bear the burden of higher prices. If the new tariffs result in an average 29% duty, US importers could face some 1 trillion in annual tariffs, translating to an extra of $7,300 per household. Everyday essentials like cars, clothing, coffee, and wine are expected to become slightly more expensive. Don't worry, only slightly. Fish produced from Mexico could see price hikes almost immediately. The Federal Reserve's preferred inflation measure, currently at 2.8%, could jump to 4.8%, worsening the cost of living crisis. With higher costs, customers are already cutting back on discretionary expenses, discretionary spending, and businesses may be forced to lay off workers to offset the rising expenses. Now, economists warn that these tariffs, and I quote, will raise the probability of a US recession. Goldman Sachs has already increased the likelihood of a US recession to 35%, while Moody's analysts predicts that the odds of any trade war in the future rises and rises. Now let's broaden the scope and understand the global implication, global impact. The tariffs aren't just a US problem. Donald Trump has made them a global problem, and that could cripple the global trade. Markets reacted instantly with stock prices tumbling worldwide. China, one of the hardest hit countries, has condemned the tariffs and threatened countermeasures. The European Union EU is also bracing for impact. In 2024, the EU exported some 382 euros billion worth of goods to the US. While Trump's 20% reciprocal tariffs, exports could decline by 85 billion euros, hinting at key industries such as automotive, pharmaceutical industries. Germany, Denmark, and Central Europe are expected to suffer the most, and Goldman Sachs predicts that the Eurozone may enter a recession in 2025 this year. The UK, facing a baseline 10% tariff, is similarly at risk. The country exported some £60 billion worth of goods to the US last year, primarily in automobiles and machinery. The Institute for Public Policy Research estimates that over 25,000 jobs in the UK's car industry could be at risk due to declining exports to US. Even Canada and Mexico, despite being excluded from the new tariffs, won't escape the unscattered. Existing tariffs on autos and other goods remain in place, and higher prices could worsen the cost of living crisis in Canada. Mexico could also see job losses and economic slowdown, economic shutdown. The point is that Trump's tariffs could dismantle the global free trade that the US helped establish post World War II. The US's average tariff rate has splurged from 2.5% in 2024 to 22%, a level not seen since 1910. Flinch rating says many countries will likely end up in recession, quote unquote. While Trump's goal is to boost America's prosperity, the risk of his plan backfiring is quite high. If the world plunges into a trade war, the economic damage could be severe.